What's up, everybody? This is Zach Ramirez back today with another League of Legends breakdown for tomorrow morning slate. This one's going to lock at 3 a.m. Central Time. It is the four-game slate for the LPL and the LCK. So very excited to kind of share the data points that I have with you today and see if we can go ahead and create kind of target where I'm going for a lineup tonight. Recap of last night. If you watched last night's video, I was real big on a four-man Beachy gaming stack and a three-man Sunni gaming stack. Worked out really well. Was able to cash really easily. Placed really high in most of the GPPs that I entered. I think it was a solid 3 or 4x on the buy end. So really solid night. And let's see if we can go back to back with it tonight. As always, check out my Twitter at OneShotDFS. The main purpose of my videos and kind of my content in general is just more geared towards the style of creating, one, two, maybe three lineups per slate, and kind of just writing with that as opposed to using an optimizer and max entering 150 different lineups. So just my personal style, the way I like playing, and just wanted to kind of share what I do and kind of my advice and guidance for that type of a style. So I'm really excited for tomorrow morning's League of Legends slate, and like I said, let's see if we can go back to back tonight. So we'll just start off breaking down position by position, kind of go over the teams, the matchups, and where I'm again targeting on going for tomorrow. So starting out with the ADC, we have Invictus Gaming kind of as the top priced players all across the board, and here is no exception with Puff coming in at a steep 8,200 price tag. Do have him as about a 3.75 star rating out of 5, and that really is solely just due to price. That price tag is going to be difficult to pay off when you start looking at some of the other players and other matchups that they have. I fully expect Invictus Gaming to win here and get a lot of kills as they usually tend to do, but I just think there's better value out there with some of these other teams and looking at their odds as well. So Invictus Gaming coming in at a 575 favorite, no surprise there. They should be able to win pretty easily. But again, I think I'm probably going elsewhere at the ADC position, but I can't fault anybody who wants to play Puff. Very skilled player. I just have him as a 3.75 for me personally. Right underneath that, we have Deft at 8,000 for DRX. They are the highest favorite by far of all the teams, and a team that I'm probably going to target for my stack. I'm going to try to get a four-man DRX stack in there, but with a four-game slate, what I usually try to do is either a four-man stack of one team if I really like them, and then go with a 2-1 of another team, as opposed to like yesterday with a two-game slate, I went with a four-man stack, three-man stack. When you have more teams involved, I try to kind of diversify a little bit more, and so maybe a 4-2-1 or even like a 3-3-1 is maybe a format that works best for me. So that's probably something I'll try to do here. DRX is definitely going to be one of the teams in those bigger stacks, whether it's a four-man stack or a three-man stack of DRX. I'll for sure get DRX in there, and Deft is one player that I am really keen on fitting in. Due to the 8,000 price tag, it's really difficult to fit him in the captain position, but I mean, if you can make it work, for sure, go for it. If the rest of their lineup fits, could definitely get behind Deft as a captain position. I expect him to be one of the higher scoring players on the slate tomorrow, so he's my highest ranked ADC when it comes to price and just projections at this point, and someone who I would definitely have plenty of exposure to. Coming in at a 4-star rating, right underneath Deft, we have Sam D for V5. V5 is going to be the third highest favorite on the board at a 475 favorite. I have him ranked just slightly higher above Puff, and again, that's all just due to price tag. 7,800 is a little bit more manageable than 8,200. But if I had to choose, I'm probably going in the middle again with the Deft at DRX. Coming in at another 3.5 rating, we have Route for Sandbox Gaming. Sandbox is the smallest favorite of all the favorited teams, only at a 185. So that should be a really good matchup to watch with Sandbox Gaming. For 7,400 though, I just I'm not sure. I want that more assurance, and that's why I'm probably spending up to depth at DRX. But if you want to get interesting, Sandbox is probably gonna be one of the lower owned favorited teams out there. But someone who I may use as a one-off or try to fill in with my other stacks to make work. So don't hate Route at 7,400. It's someone I'm probably not going to get to. Right underneath that, we have Viper for HLE coming in at the 135 underdog. They're the opponent of Sandbox Gaming. Um, Viper's really, really, really good as well. It's just his team is terrible. It does not play on a good team, and as a result, he rarely gets the kind of the kills and kill participation that he needs to be one of the upper echelon players. So have no interest really in Viper. Same can be said for Light, Aiming, and Wings. The further down we go, the higher underdog that these teams are. And when it comes to League of Legends, underdogs really, really don't win as often as, say, other sports do when it comes to underdogs. So I really try to stick to the favorites, especially when I'm playing one or two lineups at most, and try to stack those favorited teams. So ADC for me, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be leaning Deft, although I definitely understand Puff and Sam D as well if you wanted to get there. Moving on to the jungler position, you'll see here highlighted in blue is Pyosic, also for DRX. So this is someone I highlighted because it's probably where I'm going to utilize my captain spot. When it comes to two game slates, I really try to use the captain for a mid or ADC in these bigger slates because prices tend to be a little bit more difficult to fit who you really want. I would I do sometimes use a jungler or even sometimes a top lane player as a captain if it allows me to create the rest of my roster the way I want to. And so that's how I'm seeing tonight or tomorrow morning going is using Pyosic as a jungler that allows me to get a lot of either a 3 or 4 man stack of DRX like I originally want to. And he is really involved in all of their kill participation, so that's why I have him ranked really highly here as a 4.5, 4.75 star rating for Pyosic, and someone that I'm more than likely going to be using in my captain spot. Coming in neck and neck with Pyosic, though, is going to be Wee for V5. V5 is probably my second favorite stack when it comes to price and salary and just fitting in different players from the team. Um, V5 is probably going to be that team I have either a 3 man stack or a 2 man mini stack of to try to fit in more DRX players. And Wee is right there with Pyosic when it comes to my projections and ratings. They're really really close. I just prefer Pyosic in my captain spot just because I'm going to have more DRX exposure than V5. Unless I go like a 3-3-1 stack, then maybe I'll have one lineup with Pyosic in the captain and one lineup with Wee in the captain, just to see who does better because they are that close to me for me anyways. But also right there is Ning for Invictus Gaming. So if you're really keen on getting some IG exposure, um, like I said, Invictus Gaming is one of, if not the most exciting team to actually watch because of how many kills they rack up, and they're always a really really popular choice in DFS because of that aspect. But all their other players are priced really really high. Here we have Ning with IG as the third highest player. So if you want some IG exposure, maybe here is where you go to get that. I just prefer Pyosic from DRX and Wee from V5, but Ning is also, as you see in my ratings, 4.5 star rating, so he's right there too if you want to get there. After that, it does drop off quite a bit for me. On fleek for Sandbox coming in at a 3.5, 3.75. CAD, Haru, XX. I don't really have any interest in them at all. If you want to try to look for a kind of a dart throw, Meteor with Billy Gaming is really really good at his position. Very cheap at 6K. If that allows you to maybe fit in all higher price players with like Deft and the ADC as the captain spot, and you're okay with that risk. Maybe that's something you can do is maybe throw in Meteor there as a one-off and hope for the best and probably a losing outcome, but maybe you can rack up enough kills and points um, in the matchup against Invictus to pay that off. So that's why I have him ranked kind of higher than all the others down there for that reason, and then no interest in Bono for KT. So moving on to the mid, again we see Rookie here with IG, the most expensive mid player, but Rookie is probably the best player on IG, and so very deserving of that price tag. If you want to pay up for Rookie, I totally get it. I can't have nothing bad to say about him other than his price tag, and the only reason he is not a 5-star rating for me is because I do have the 5-star rating for Chavoy with DRX at 7,600. Again, DRX being my main stack, I want to incorporate the mid and the ADC for sure in that stack to make sure I can maximize my upside. So probably just locking in Chavoy in my lineup at the mid position, but if you can get up to Rookie, for sure go for it. Um, Coming in a little bit under, we have Mole for V5 and Fate for Sandbox. Have them ranked pretty similarly based on their price and kind of their expectations and projections. For sure, I favor the top two mid players, but if mid is a position you're looking to save some room in, you can definitely go to Mole or Fate to help fill out your roster. And then underneath that, the underdog players have really no interest in. Um, Maple, Fofo, Lava for sure, not Miru, and then Kuro. You'll see here by my rankings, they're all kind of in that 2.5-star rating. Even Miro coming in at a 1-star, so absolutely zero interest there. But for me, it's going to be Chovoy, probably going to be a lock in the mid position. Although I can definitely get going to Rookie, and if you have that cap space and want to play Rookie, go for it. Should be fairly popular, but it's probably going to get close to paying off that price tag. I just think Chovoy is a little bit of a better value at 7,600 for me personally. Moving into the support. So now we have Kyria is going to be the highest, most expensive support player at 6,000 for DRX. Do have Kyria as pretty much a 5-star rating. Kyria is one of the better support players out there, and with the DRX, probably going to take a 2-0 sweep tonight. Should be really, really high scoring. I know kind of my original roster construction, I'm having a hard time fitting Kyria, but if you can fit Kyria in your support player, for sure, just plug him in and let him do his job. Reheal and PP God coming in pretty similarly ranked for me at a right underneath a 5-star, probably like a 4.5. Um, Due to my kind of roster construction right now, like I said, I'm probably going with a either 4-man DRX stack and then a 2v5 and a one-off somewhere else, maybe an IG or a sandbox player. But if I do a 3-man DRX stack, a 3-man V5, and then a one-off somewhere else, then PP God's probably going to be a really solid play for me in the support position for that V5 stack. First of all, his name is great, right? PP God's amazing, but he should be able to fill that void and pay off that value of 5,400 quite nicely. Underneath that, the only other kind of lower tiered support player I would have interest in would be Gorilla for Sandbox Gaming. If you want to maybe use your support player as a one-off spot for your stacks and use a Sandbox player, Gorilla at 4,800 should be able to hit his value fairly nicely as well. So let's look at the team real quick. As I always say, teams, I don't really build around the team position, just whoever kind of slides in and fits and makes sense works for me. So we'll have the top 3 teams that I'm interested in here, all pretty evenly ranked with DRX, Invictus Gaming, and V5. Sandbox comes in a little bit underneath that at a 4-star rating for me. So if you can get any one of the top 3, whoever fits your roster, just plug them in. Upside's usually always kind of capped when it comes to the team position. So if Victory 5 is the cheapest of the 3, works for you, then cool. But if you can fit DRX or Invictus, then yeah, just slide them in there. If you can't fit any of those, then I'm okay with going to Sandbox. in the team position as well. Just would much prefer to have any one of the top three teams